So this is the Google Pixel 9a, and today we're going to unbox it and give you my first impressions of this all new mid-ranger from Google. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's take a look at the Google Pixel 9a. Now this one retails for right around $499. I picked this up today at the Google store, and you'll see the actual box does look like it's recycled friendly. You see they do list some specifications there. We are looking at a 5G sub 6.3 inch, so that's up over the Google Pixel 8a, 128 gigabytes, and I did go with the iris color. They do have this in porcelain, obsidian, also a peony color, which is like a pinkish color. Now this is somewhere in between a purple and blue hue, probably leaning a little bit more towards purple. But let's go ahead. I was trying to open it like that. Let's go ahead. Rookie mistake. Let's go ahead and pull this thing over here. And we'll just go ahead and slide that off. And I'm already seeing resemblances to the Pixel 9 series, the regular 9 series with the unboxing. So if you take a look at the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, basically the same setup. So they're keeping everything in sync. I know it's not a big deal, but I do like when companies keep things all looking similar, even across the lower end phones. And you'll see right here, Google Pixel 9a kind of gets rid of the camera bar. You'll see fingerprint sensor, power button, volume rockers, USB ports, SIM card tray, because awesomely, we do have ourselves SIM card. And that didn't peel off quite as nice as I'd like, but who cares? Here's the phone. You can see definitely not as in your face as a different purples I've seen. We'll compare that later, but I do like how flat the camera is on this Google Pixel 9a right here. We don't have the camera bar that we've seen before, which kind of takes away from its unique look like on the 8a, but it is a clean aesthetic. I'm kind of digging it. Let's see, we do have ourselves the flash, and that's recessed so you don't really feel it. The Google logo at the bottom. We see the USB-C. We also see our SIM card tray, speaker grill, just the overall nice smooth edges, some antenna lines right there. And off on the right side, we do have ourselves the volume rockers. And let's go ahead and get this thing powered on. So 6.3 inches. It's actually been one of my favorite sizes this year, the 6.3 inch size. I think it's up a little bit over a smaller feeling 6.1, which makes it maybe a sweet spot for some people. You'll see we do have USB-C to USB-C included in the box, but there is no charger. Also, you'll see some Pixel 9 support papers and stuff like that. But other than that, it's a pretty bare bones box. That's kind of what you see with a lot of these companies these days, is no chargers in the box, pretty bare bones. And they're trying to become more environmentally friendly. That's why you're seeing things like this. Some people argue, well, no, they're trying to sell you accessories. That probably is true too, but at the same time, these boxes are smaller. So do keep that in mind if you care about anything like that. Probably don't. Let's go ahead and turn this on. And I'm going to just set this up. This is just a typical Pixel setup, so I'll set this up and we'll be back. Here we are, the Google Pixel 9a. Now, the first thing you can notice is that the screen does look bigger than before, because obviously it is. But the thing is that it still has those thicker bezels that we find on the 8a, so this is not really a major improvement in that department. However, this display is supposed to get brighter than the Google Pixel 8a. So that's definitely an upgrade. It's also slightly bigger and looks taller to me, but that might make it a little bit easier to go side to side. I'll have to see as I use this phone and try this thing out. It also has a nice big battery. It's like 5,100 milliamp. It's a pretty big battery in here. We also have 8 gigabytes of RAM, Tensor G4, which is what you're going to find on the Google Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL. So this is a pretty nice overall camera experience. In terms of the rear camera, we do have ourselves a reduced 48 over the 60, I think it was 64 megapixel, but they claim that the actual quality will be a bit better due to the processing. There's already an update right out of the box for the camera. I'm not really going to be surprised by the results here. I already know the Pixel does a great job in this department. This is what they're known for, is really good cameras. They also have lately been doing pretty good in the video department as well. The only thing I don't like about the Pixels is that when you take a picture, sometimes it takes a while to process, but it is doing the AI stuff, so it might be worth it in the long haul. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the wallpapers here and see what we're rocking out with. I always like to see the new wallpapers that come here, and you'll see some swirling petals, and specifically they look like they are color matching whichever version you go with. So peony, the iris, the porcelain, and that's probably for the obsidian. But with the iris color, I just thought this one standed out the most. It's also pretty easy to photograph and take videos of, so I quite like this color right here. If we go ahead and swipe out and we scroll through, you'll also notice this is a pretty smooth refresh, just like the recent phone. And of course, Gemini is going to be integrated right there when I sign in. I actually didn't sign in yet. I'm going to sign in later before the review, but this is just the first impressions. Gemini is going to be on the side here, so you'll have that on board as well. And on the 128 gig storage, I wish they would have started at this price with 256, but you do have Google's Photos and cloud storage, which is pretty good, so I'm not too worried about it. Also, a lot of people buying in this space are not like overly storing thousands of things on their phones usually, so it's pretty decent storage, I would say. 186 grams is a pretty nice weight. This phone feels darn light in the hand. But it definitely has a pretty sharp resolution as well. We're looking at around 422 pixels density. So that's actually very good sharpness. As you get close to the screen, you'll see a very tack sharp screen on here. This houses the Mali G715 GPU. So we'll see if that improves on the gaming performance. But I gotta tell you, man, I think this phone is a pretty good option in this space right now, mostly because it gives you a light build, a very comfortable hold here with these curved corners right here. And it feels similar to like maybe Apple's iPhone 16, but at a much cheaper price. So I think it's a really nice phone here for the price on my first impressions. I just dropped it already, but oh well, we'll see if I damaged it later. The Google Pixel 8a right here. Definitely you can see maybe some are going to still prefer the older camera bar. Let me know your thoughts, but it feels a little bit weightier, a little bit chunkier, a little bit smaller. So if you like a lighter weight, bigger design, you'll like this. And one of the best things is this should be getting brighter than the previous version. So outdoors, this phone should get brighter. Some other things about this phone is that you are going to be getting the AI stuff. Like really, it's a big deal on this phone. You are going to get a lot of feature drops as well as a lot of updates. So this is one of the best things about this phone, the call screening as well, to get scam calls out. And also you can get the spam messages feature on here as well. You can generate images with Gemini. So this thing right here is really, it's like the best Google experience on these Pixel phones. So I do think you'll like it if you're really into the Pixel stuff. Also, one of the biggest things about this versus like other, maybe even cheaper phones with better specs, is that this phone tends to get more frequent updates and longer support on major OS upgrades because this is Google's phone. So they're going to be able to give you a major OS upgrade for up to like 7 years. So this thing is going to last. That is a huge deal right here. You're also getting an under display fingerprint sensor. So you can see, besides the thicker bezels, this phone has all of the tools in its tool belt to be basically near a premium level phone with a few sacrifices. So if we go ahead and take a look at the front facing camera, this one is also quite wide, which is a nice improvement over some older phones, which were really, really close to the face. So they definitely heard those complaints. If we take a look at the video, this is still rather close. I don't know that we can go 4K on the front, probably not on this phone. Oh, actually we can. So that's great. We can do 4K on the front. Probably not 4K 60, but that's still decent that we could do that. So overall, I've got to say so far, this is looking pretty nice overall package for the Pixel 9a. However, my biggest thing with this phone is just the bezels. I wish they were thinner. I think they can be thinner, but then maybe who would buy the Pixel 9 if these were not thicker bezels? And this auto brightness is getting on my nerves. So let's go ahead and turn that off because it keeps dimming during the video. But it's really just the bezels. That's really my only flaw, I would say, with this product right here. Also, the cameras are not going to be top level, but they're still really good. So it's like, do you really need more? And there's only one other one. You can get phones at a similar price with a better chip. You can get a better than a G4. The Tensor G4 is just not a powerhouse chip. It's a good chip. It runs great for day-to-day tasks, and also for AI. It does amazing. It's really designed for that. But it's not a powerhouse chip like a OnePlus 13R, for example. So if that's your thing, this might not be for you. But I think the target customer is going to love this. I also do like that they have a SIM card slot. And also its price point is pretty decent, $499. That's $100 less than the iPhone 16e. It's also less than the 13R, but that phone's faster, but it's more than like a Galaxy A series. But the A series is slower, but it's close to that of the Galaxy S24 FE. So that phone. So overall, I think you're looking at a pretty solid option. I'm going to do some speed tests, some comparisons with this phone. But before we get up out of here, let me know your thoughts on the Pixel 9a. What do you want to see on it? You thinking about getting one? Which color do you like the most? Let's go ahead and take a look at some side by side. So you've been seeing the Pixel 8a, but you'll definitely see you're getting a taller phone. It is lighter though. And it feels a little bit better on the sides. These sides are just a little more flat, so they're easier to grip. I feel like the Pixel 8a will slip out of your hand maybe a little bit more. But other than that, it's not a huge upgrade over this. You probably don't need to do that upgrade. But if you want, you could trade this in and get $250 off right now. Let's take a look at this next to something like an iPhone 16 and a similar color option. You could see the iPhone 16 is definitely a more deep looking color there, but they kind of feel the same, similar weight, similar size. These are kind of similar. This is a great alternative option to something like this. This is not even 90 hertz or 120 hertz. This thing does have the adaptive refresh, so that's a nice little change there. And let's go ahead and take a look at this against something like the Galaxy A56. Now, of course, this is a little bit lower end, but at the same time, you get a bigger screen, a metal build. So there are benefits here, but this phone is definitely much slower than the Pixel 8a in terms of like it lags a little bit more. Nothing like the older A series, but it lags up a little bit more. And lastly, I would say probably its number one alternative, and probably our first speed test we're going to conduct, is against the iPhone 16e. The Pixel just took the crown automatically. Dual camera, single camera. Like, what is that? We also do have ourselves a bigger screen on the Pixel, adaptive refresh, which this doesn't have, but this has a screaming chip. So Apple knew what they were doing. They knew that they just put the better chip, they would still have some customers there, and that is still a draw. Also, long software support, but longer here on the Google Pixel. So the 9a is slotting in as a very good option. Let me know if you want to see some particular comparisons, if you're confused on which one to buy, or if you should upgrade or not. And stay tuned for some speed tests with this one and the review coming soon on the Google Pixel 9a. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this first impressions and first look. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.